Mergers and Acquisitions, the legal sale and purchase process by Luis Gerardo Ramirez Villela. Hi, I am Luis Gerardo Ramirez Villela, a partner of Milgenburg Orchis Peñalosa. In this video presentation, we will talk about the legal sale and purchase process in Mexico. The steps during the sale and purchase process may be summarized as follows. Elaboration of letter of intent or acquisition interest, legal due diligence process to identify potential risk in connection with the sale and purchase process, delivery of due diligence report, structuring of sale and purchase agreement, indemnification upon default, and post-closing obligations. Regarding the elaboration of the letter of intent, the main terms and conditions should be the following. Description of the project, parties' participation, project conditions, structuring of definitive agreements, confidentiality, exclusivity, costs and expenses, term, and governing law and jurisdiction. With respect to the acquisition interest, please note that this is a unilateral document and is the first approach to try to negotiate when it is not an agreed sales process. The content of this acquisition interest is practically the same to the one of the letter of intent, except that the definitive agreements are not described in detail. With respect to the legal due diligence, this is one of the main conditions to carry out in any sale and purchase transaction. The process may be carried out in situ or through an electronic data room, nowadays called virtual data room. In principle, this due diligence process should not exceed 8 weeks and should include at least the review of the following information and documentation: corporate, banking and finance, contracts, real estate, intellectual property, regulatory matters, inventory and equipment, labor matters, tax matters, insurance, international trade, and litigation. The purpose of the legal due diligence process is to identify any potential risk that could prevent the closing of the sale and purchase transaction. Please note that it will be necessary that the accounting and legal teams coordinate in order to identify any potential risks that could prevent from closing the transaction. All documents reviewed during the legal due diligence process should be retained for a future review. During the process, legal advisors should verify that all provisions are complied with and that the specific conditions are identified in the contracts, such as change of control provisions, exclusivity or non-competition obligations, assignment or transfer provisions, etc. For the delivery of the legal due diligence report, nowadays it is more common just to provide an executive summary describing the main risks identified during the legal due diligence process. In the description of the legal risk identified in the legal due diligence review, a possible solution must be also considered in order to avoid any potential risk in the future. The structure of the legal due diligence report may be summarized as follows. Introduction, definitions, legal risks, and executive summary. With respect to the structuring of the sale and purchase agreement, you should keep in mind that the sale and purchase agreement should contain at least the following sections: definitions, purpose, price, conditions, affirmative and negative covenants, representations and warranties, indemnification, taxes, additional covenants, termination, and dispute resolution. Terms and conditions for the sale and purchase transaction may be different. You can provide for conditions precedent or for resolutory conditions. Please note that affirmative and negative covenants of the buyer and the seller must be agreed for the improvement of the sale and purchase transaction and the continuity of the business operation to the extent that the sale of shares. Representations and warranties are the basis of the sale and purchase agreement and the basis of future compensation for buyer. The main reps and warranties are the following: corporate organization, assets, labor, tax, financial statements, material contracts, environmental, intellectual property, permits and authorizations, litigation, insurance, conduct of business, and veracity of the information provided. With respect to representations and warranties, these ones protect the buyer in any transaction and grant buyer a compensation procedure against any potential liability not disclosed during the due diligence process. The common practice for the validity of reps and warranties is between 12 and 36 months. Reps and warranties related to tax, labor, and environmental matters, among others, should survive by the corresponding terms in accordance with applicable laws. Indemnification clause gives the buyer the right to request compensation or a price adjustment in the case there is a misrepresentation or warranty by the seller. Seller may request to include a cap amount on the compensation or establish a basket or deductible to ensure that there would be no responsibility for claims exceeding X amount. Regarding dispute resolution, parties may choose between the following: submit to competent courts agreed amongst the parties, submit to arbitration rules in accordance with Mexican or international chambers of commerce, or establish resolution mechanisms to carry out private mediation. Regarding post-closing obligations, on some occasions, there are certain obligations that remain pending on the part of the seller once the sale and purchase transaction is concluded. So it will be necessary to establish specific deadlines and penalties in case of a breach of such obligations. Some examples of such obligations are reimbursement of payments by clients during the ordinary course of business, non-competition or non-solicitation obligations, change of corporate name, provided this is an asset sale and purchase transaction, and transitional services during a specific period of time. Please take into account that each transaction is specific and particular, and that you would need to provide your legal experts and counsels with all necessary information in order to prepare a specific document that would protect you as a buyer or as a seller. Hope this video presentation has been useful, and please do not hesitate to contact us for any future inquiries. Thank you.